Hi and welcome to You Belong on the Board, a podcast designed to inspire and encourage young women into business. My name is Catherine and I'm a business and management student at the University of Sussex, where I'm currently on my placement year with SAP. This is all on top of running GLOW, which stands for Growing Leaders with Opportunities and Willpower.
And I'm Helen. I am a mum and I've been working in business for 30 years. My current job is working in my own company, which is Aviatrix, a market research company. I'm so happy to be doing this with Catherine, a podcast to inspire women to create their own opportunities in life by running their own business.
Great. So, why are we doing this? Well,
Yes.
in 2017, only 5.6% of UK women actually ran their own businesses, which compared to Canada, which is at 15%, that's kind of shocking. And, you know, if women scaled their businesses to the same extent as men, then the new value they could add is £250 billion.
So we've got our coffees, let's get going. What are we going to talk about today? So today we are focusing on recruitment and how you as young people, or more specifically women, can get a job, a top job in 2020. We're going to open this discussion with a wonderful statistic. According to Catalyst research published earlier this year, more than 2/3 of women aged 16 to 64 are employed. That's amazing, given that it's the highest number of women that have been employed since records began just under 50 years ago.
I agree. Those are very, very important stats. But it is important to recognise that since 2018, the percentage of women on FTSE 100 boards only increased to 29%. And in the House of Commons, only 32% of people sitting there are women.
No, it's not good
great.
enough. It's not great.
Hence why we're here. So, Helen, the question is, what do you think we should do to get more women onto the board?
Well, I think that women should be fundamentally looking for meaningful work.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that they should be more challenging.
Mm.
I don't think that when you're going for a job, when I look at CVs of people, we don't want cookie cutter people, we want real people. And I think that this is about being really true to yourself, thinking big, thinking more than you can. If you think you can't, then you can't. If you think you can, you can. So you have to go for the big opportunities and put yourself forward and make sure your CV reflects who you are and what the potential of that might be.
Absolutely. I think through my university experience, I've really tried to make sure I've had the experience. So, for example, I've ran 2 businesses. So GLOW is where I'm currently at. I've also ran a social enterprise called Social, which was about social media marketing for ethical businesses. I was also a youth worker for 2 years. I've worked in a cafe, in a bar. It's all for the experience, because you can really develop yourself as a person when you try different things, when you open yourself up to possibilities and opportunities. And like I say, it's just so important. And you can really see on your CV that you've done these things, that you as a person have developed, and you're doing amazingly. They can tell that.
No, totally. And I think that it really is about, as Sheryl Sandberg says from Facebook, is leaning in. Women need to lean in. Women need to look at the opportunities and how they can go for them and not be put off.
Oh,
I mean, and if you're going for a position, because there's lots of stories about women going for positions and being overlooked in preference for a male colleague or being prejudiced against. But I think that if that's the case, then just get another job, move. Don't take it personally. Just see that place is not the right place for them, and move on to somewhere where those people will see your potential. Because it really is about putting yourself forward and not giving up. Just because someone else doesn't see it, then fine, move on.
Move on. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I really noticed this because I've been applying for placements. As introduced, I'm now at SAP. But throughout the whole process, I found out that only 30% of people who apply actually get the job, or get a job even, which is ridiculous. You know, some people have this integrated in their degree, myself included. You know, to not have that guarantee is, you know, really kind of scary. But at the same time, the opportunity might not be there for you and it might not be right. And honestly, it's that bad at the end of the day. But if it's not right for you, then you have got to trust that the recruiter knows what they're talking about, because they know the culture of the company inside out, because they've been working there for a number of years or a number of months. But on the flip side of that, it's also important to remember to trust your gut with this. So I've been going through placement programs, one of which I went through 7 stages just to get to the company. So I remember there was a literacy test, a maths test, then there was a personality test as well, where I had to answer over 100 questions of, right, this is most important to me, this is least important to me, which at the time seemed a little bit pretentious, but I understand the importance to that company. But going through that process, and then all the interviews were pre-recorded video, and then I had 30 seconds to think and then a minute to answer that question. I just realised that wasn't for me, because that pressure and almost that lack of human contact in the recruitment process was just so not right for me. And with SAP, which have been absolutely fantastic, the whole process was so human. I remember I applied, and the first stage was an interview, a telephone interview, with the previous interns. So the interns are recruiting for their own role. So they know exactly the sort of people they need, exactly the people they want. And you can actually ask questions, because there was no managers in the room. They literally said, if you've got any questions about the role, then just literally ask, which was so good from my perspective. And then the next stage was an assessment centre day, where they were advertising to us as much as we were advertising to them. They were trying to show that we want to be a really good opportunity for you. We want to give you this much. And the day was literally about interacting with each other and seeing if it was right for you. And that's just so important. Just trust your gut when you're going through it. Absolutely trust your gut.
I think that you're absolutely right, totally right. But I think that the other thing is really make sure that you do the basics first. I mean, I cannot describe to you how many CVs you get and fundamental problems with grammar, spellings, the turn of phrase, not really standing out. I mean, and there's 7.5 billion of us on this planet. We are all unique. What is your magic sauce? What is it about you that shines out? And if that is only that you've got a real passion for animals or, football or whatever it might be, then express that, because we need to see the real personality. It's such an enormous shame that so many CVs are not looked at because basics aren't covered off. So give yourself the biggest opportunity and get people to look at it before you send it, because does it reflect you? Does it reflect what will become in your career, your personal brand? Is this actually who you are?
Especially with the developing, as you say, there's billions of people on this planet.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself? And being sort of authentic, and like you say, making those basics initially, getting people to read, especially close friends who really know you, is just so crucial, because then they can just say to you, this isn't you, this is not right. Like, I think you need to focus on this and this and this, which they don't mean with any negativity, like between your friendship, but they're doing it to help you, and you really need to take those comments on and just, full run forward it and be authentic.
Totally. You've got to give yourself the best chance of getting the most perfect job right from the outset. And that's what, finding a job is all about, being the best you can. How can you express yourself on a piece of paper? One sheet of paper, not pages. You haven't got oodles of experience when you're doing your first job, and nobody expects you to know loads of stuff. What we're looking at is almost a blank sheet of paper, ironically, in terms of everybody knows that. They don't expect you to know tons and tons of information or have loads and loads of skills. The opportunity is to go in and somewhere and learn stuff, and to express that you have energy, enthusiasm, willing to learn. They're all amazing qualities. You don't need more than that, just the ability to be able to adapt and work in a company. And I think I was in a meeting this morning. There was a presentation about from a large accountancy practice talking about how now one of the most common questions they get asked is from people that they're recruiting, what are you investing in the community? What are you investing in the environment? And I think what I loved about that is everybody has a right to work somewhere that's going to work for them. You've got to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to look if you great if you chop and change. You know, you are looking at an investment of your time. You know, so it's got to be a good match for you. So it's important that you have the guts, you put the big girl pants on and ask for what you want. Because I think that you deserve it.
Absolutely, you deserve it. And I think coming back to those sort of opportunities, like it's especially at university, so the opportunities that young people need to be looking at is, okay, great, I've got a degree. At the end of the day, most people have degrees now. With these opportunities and showing who you are, there are things like an Actus. So how I started a lot of my experience, bar working in a cafe and being a youth worker, was with an Actus, and how much it taught me was invaluable, because from the moment I stepped in, they said, can you take a project? Can you run this project? I had no idea what I was doing. I was just there like, okay, I've turned up to this meeting, not sure what's going on, but okay, let's do it. And that's what I got told. It was social. It was a social media marketing agency. So I went out there and I found courses and I trained myself. And I got out there, I got to the networking events. I met people like yourself. And those skills that you get from that, you can really put forward into your CV. And people can tell, because you can fill up your CV as much as possible, but you can tell when people have got these skills. You can tell immediately, because when you get to the interviews, they'll be like, oh, so tell me a time where you demonstrated leadership. And, you know, I will be honest, at that time your mind goes blank. But if you've done these things, then you're very quickly going to think, okay, glow, leadership. I demonstrated this, I helped this person with this, etc. And they can tell when it's authentic.
Oh, totally. You can always tell it's authentic. And I think what I love about what you're saying is that you really do have to throw yourself into any opportunity that comes your way, including doing a crazy podcast like this. So you know, I think if it feels right, just do it, you know? Yeah. I mean, and then after you've said that and it doesn't feel right, do it anyway. Because sometimes you can overthink these things, and you can think, oh, should I do this or should I do that? What's it going to mean if I make the wrong decision or whatever? But it doesn't really matter. Mistakes is the breeding ground of growth. Yeah. So you have to, you know, just go for these opportunities, try stuff and see where it takes you. Don't be afraid to try.
And I think what's important, where you just mentioned there is no right or wrong answer.
Oh my goodness,
there is no one way about this.
No.
You know, you do what feels right for you. You do what you're passionate about, and just try it. But yeah, there is no, okay, so to get this job, you need to have 5 different experiences in jobs. You need to have 100% skill set in this area. No, it's not that. No. I mean, what's so interesting is from the CVs, because I talk with the placement students at SAP, what's so interesting is that everybody's so different, and everybody's got such a different skill set. So we've got somebody from the football team, we've got myself who went through Enactus, we've got another person who went through like tech for women and stuff like that. So different. Constantly. I mean, my co-worker was actually in the Singaporean army for 2 years.
Wow.
Which is polar opposite to me. Absolute polar opposite. And we're co-workers with each other. We technically have the same job, just different aspects. You know, there is no right or wrong. And when developing your CV, I think that's just important to remember. You really need to make it individual to yourself.
Yeah, and there is no perfect job. No. There really isn't. I don't think there's anything in life that's perfect. And I think that there are going to be bits that you like and you don't like. But I think the other thing is to decide, you know, to make a decision and do it. Yeah. You know, because at some point, you know, you can, oh, is this right? And this one's like this and that one's like that. But you've got to just go with it. Yeah. And, you know, you've got to let life do some of the work too. When I was thinking about whether to, I was actually thinking originally of going into ground crew before I did my degree, and it was all this working in this perfume factory actually.
Oh wow.
Yes. Thank goodness I didn't do those things. I'm sure it'd be great for somebody, but it wasn't going to be great for me. But you just have to make a decision. You have to make a leap of faith. And I think that that's ultimately the difference between people I watch who who just see life as an opportunity, see jobs as opportunities to just make a decision, do it. You will always learn something, even if, oh my goodness, this is so wrong for me. You have to take those leaps of faith and go with it and try stuff out. But coming back to the point really is how to get a job in 2020 is to be the best version of yourself, express that as well as you possibly can on the piece of paper, which is the way that most jobs work, but also tell loads and loads of people, everybody you come across, I'm looking for a job. This is the kind of thing I'm thinking about. Take as much advice as you can get, as much wisdom as you can get hold of, because you never know. There's always somebody that can help you along your road, and that never fails to amaze me.
Then maybe that's the thing, networking.
Yes.
We always come back to it. I mean, you famously say to me, I go into meetings, I'm like, do you know Catherine Park? Yes. So maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to get yourself out there. Develop your personal brand with things like LinkedIn. Actually, what things I keep seeing is big managers who say, there was one where a woman left her laptop on the train, work laptop. I've been there before, it's absolutely horrendous, the feeling. But she left it on there, and then a student found it, and then there was a number attached to it, and they called it and they were like, I found your laptop, where are you? I'll drop it off. And then she did the favour of saying, oh, okay, so got to know them, like, oh, I'm actually looking for a job. And so what she did is she went on LinkedIn, posted a CV, and then told the story and said, this is a genuine, really awesome person with great experience. Can somebody give them a chance? And I think I looked at the comments, there was over 100. Over 100 comments.
Wow.
From just that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it, networking.
Well, and you know, being on the other side of it, you know, I cannot tell you the number of meetings I'm in with people just like me with their own businesses, looking for the right type of person to come. Lots and lots of people are recruiting all the time. Most businesses are. One of the biggest challenges is finding the right person. So it is, you owe it to yourself to be brave enough to tell people what you're looking for, and be demanding in that. You know, I'm looking for this type of thing. Be big about it, be bold about it, say what you want, because then you've got a chance of it happening. Otherwise, you know, you sit in a corner and you don't tell anybody, then how's it going to happen? Yeah, absolutely. I think to bring it back, humans hire humans. Exactly. Like, human resources begins with human resources for a reason. We are all human. You see someone, you're like, wow, you're impressive. That's what you want. I'll give it to you. I know. I'll give it. I remember being at events and just saying, like, I'm doing this and this and this. And they're like, do you want a job? Do you want this? And because I've had SAP, I've turned them down. But, you know, having that authenticity is just so important. And I was also thinking when you were saying is that you know, those early crappy jobs I had you know, also paid the most enormous dividends in kind of not so much about what I wanted to do, but what I definitely did not want to do. And I think this is why, you know, just that process of elimination, acquisition in terms of career experience, all that kind of stuff is just so important. Really so important. And working with nice people. Absolutely. You don't have to work with people that don't treat you good. Leave. Go and find someone nice. But I think to end this podcast on a high note, what we can take away is be authentic, put yourself out there and trust your guts, you know. Anyway, I think we're going to call that a wrap. It was lovely speaking to you again, Helen. And you too. Hopefully we'll see you all in Brighton. See you later.
Thank you for watching our podcast. Just to let you know, we have an event on the 12th of December 2019 in Brighton at the Brightham Centre at 6 p.m. This will be a panel event where you guys can come and meet us and also our guest speakers to hear more about what we were talking about and the opportunities that we have on offer.